we've had, I think 6 really good practices leading into this game. Spent some time last week, obviously, looking at last year's game. Getting, I guess, upset looking at it. Didn't think we played a very good game at Yankee Stadium a year ago, when there was turnovers, when there was not being able to stop the run that day with what they did. I spent a day on it last week, just making sure, we're good on all ends that way. Just, as coaches, you over prepare, so, having the extra days, we just kind of said, let's go back to it and pretend like we're seeing the same thing again, which, we're not gonna, but, they can always go Wildcat, but I don't think they do it with Kyle McCord. That'd kind of be a waste, not having him back behind the center. But so we've had a good week. I think our guys are excited about a Thursday night game, first night game of the year in Acrisure Stadium. Our kids are excited. So questions?
We talked to Gavin this week, and he said Coach Bro gave him crowbars and said they got to pry the DNs open this week. What are you guys trying to do in the run game to pry the DNs open?
I think Coach Bro, he likes what do you call that when your speech class in 8th grade?
Props.
Props or whatever, just something for him to think about. He's used sledgehammers in the past, or whatever it may be. So, he's just, a young guy that comes up with different gimmicks just to get the guys thinking about being more physical in the run game, because it's going to be a physical football game. They're physical, we're physical. So, not much to say.
But does that go to the fact that, you guys are looking to be more physical, maybe on the edges, to help set up better runs for guys like that?
Not really. You're talking like an edge run. No, I don't think that gives you any indication of what kind of runs or anything else. I think it's just an attitude. It's just we talk about attitude, just a, sledgehammer, whatever you want to call it, crowbar, whatever. Just an attitude that all the coaches always have some type of little gimmick that they like to talk about.
From a defensive perspective, what concerns you most about McCord?
Jeez, everything. He's just a really good football player that can make plays with his feet when he needs to. He's had some nice scrambles and spiked the ball and all kinds of stuff. It's just we got to play good coverage. I mean, that's what scares you, because he can make every throw. He's very accurate. Probably the scariest part, I guess, is third down. I mean, money down will be critical. I mean, third and medium, the guy doesn't miss. He's about 75% completion on third down long. I think either number 2 or number 3 in the country in third down conversions. I mean, they are top third down conversion football team, and so we got to get off the field on third down. They're really good, and it's the whole offense. It's what they do. It's how they do it. They get guys open. They do a good job game planning. They got NFL coaches there. It's just what they do. And Kyle McCord can execute what they're doing. He fits their offense and what they're doing.
Pat, is his ability to spread it around as a college quarterback unique?
Not really. I mean, you look at kind of how Eli does it. I mean, I think he's throwing it where he knows. I mean, he's smart enough to know pre-snap, okay, this is what I got. I'm going here. Pre-snap, I got that. He's going to see blitz coming. He's smart. I mean, he's been, well coached, from, all of his years, probably from 8th grade up through high school, through Ryan Day at Ohio State to their offense there at Syracuse. So I think it's just, he's intelligent. I mean, we talk about his athletic ability, talk about what kind of arm he's got, how accurate he is. But all that's great, but if you don't know where to go with the ball, it's a problem. But pre-snap, I mean, he kind of will have a feel of where he likes to go, and that's the key, is he knows where he wants to go with the ball and he gets it out quick.
How have you seen him grow in an understanding of the different ways to get the ball out quick and where to go? Because every play there's multiple options, and you guys are countering for what you're expecting. Have you seen him grow in his ability to decipher the different ways to do that with all of you guys as a playbook?
You're talking about Kyle McCord.
I'm sorry, I was talking about Eli as far as what
okay,
you guys
okay,
are doing. I
okay.
apologize.
Eli, I think he learns every week. I think again, he's still young. I think we all forget he's a redshirt freshman, and McCord's a senior. He's played a lot more football. But Eli learns every week. I mean, when you look at it as a quarterback, every week you're seeing something different. You're seeing a different front. You're seeing different coverage. You've got different pass concepts that you're going into the game with. He's a student of the game, watches a lot of tape, and you see him grow weekly, but you might not necessarily see an improvement weekly based on what you're seeing defensively.
Pat, how have you seen him respond to having that game against Cal?
He's slick, man. Just washes right off of him. I mean, he's confident. he's he's resilient when you watch him practice every day. And he's got a short memory, okay, and that's what you want a corner to have. That's what you want a quarterback to have. I mean, you get beat deep on a go ball as a corner, or you throw a pick six. I mean, he just kind of lets it go. So we'll find out how he responds Saturday or Thursday.
Did you run across McCord at all in the recruiting process? He's from New Jersey.
Yeah, he lives in Jersey. He's a Philly kid, I believe. I think he was one of those 4 and 5 star quarterbacks that had his pick. I think we had some communication with him early, but nothing extensive, I don't think.
On Friday, you mentioned Terrence Enos as an unsung hero for you guys against Cal. What did you like from his game, and how have you seen him work throughout these last couple practices?
Well, he's worked. I mean, he works at every week. I mean, he's been a backup tackle for us, and Terrence has done a nice job throughout the year. He keeps getting better. When you see progress, quarterback's hard because of the coverage you're seeing, but for Terrence, again, he's the unsung hero because he had to come in and replace Branson in that game, so we got a lot of faith in what Branson can do, or what Terrence can do when he's in the game.
What do you want to see from Eli in the second half of the season? Is there some area that you would like to see him improve on?
I want to play like he did in game 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not looking for this major improvement. Just his job is to distribute the ball to guys that need to get the ball and are supposed to get the ball. Just take what they're giving you. If they're going to play deep coverage, you hit them underneath. They start coming up and creeping and covering all your checkdowns, and then you got to go behind. He's got to take what they give, and that's every week. So I'm not looking for anything special. He does not need to be Superman. He needs to be Eli Holstein and just do what Eli needs to do.
Is that the danger of sometimes hitting some of the, he has the Dejon pass in the West Virginia game, the early in the Carolina game, he threw to Kanate,
Hey, quarterbacks are competitors, Chris. I mean, they're competitors. They want to go make plays. And the same thing on defense, when you go try to, sack a quarterback and you don't get them down, you gotta be patient in what you're doing. And again, you just gotta be patient in what you're doing. So it's a learning process. But he's gonna take his shots. That's for sure. Just like every quarterback's just gotta be smart.
How have you seen him be receptive to coaching on like those points? Like he's talking about, hey, I have to take what's there and not look as deep.
He knows right away. I mean, he's been really receptive. He's a coachable young man.
And what makes Des Reed such a good receiving option?
He's got great hands and he runs good routes. He's twitchy, I think any good receiver is twitchy, and he can find the grass. He's finding open space. So he knows, when he comes out, and he knows what the leverage of that back is. And I mean, he's converting all his routes into different stuff based on, how they're playing. Are they inside out? Are they playing deep on them? Are they playing different leverages? So he's just got a great knack for getting open, and that's what you want guys is to, you're supposed to run an out route, but the guy's playing outside leverage. Well, don't run out. Go in. Find a different space. So he's got that experience of doing it, and he knows how to get open.
Is he studied? I mean, is that a product of him doing extra studying as well?
Yeah, I mean, like all our guys, I mean, they are deep into film review all the time. I mean, they do a great job. I mean, we got smart kids, #1 at Pitt, so it's nice when you have intelligence. Desmond is a really smart kid that understands football. He's a football guy. He's a football junkie. So all great players are like that.
Do you feel like you guys have a unique threat on your roster with him, Kanate, Poppy, just the amount of guys that you have that are smart route runners that can not only get open by understanding what the defense is doing, but also just naturally because they've gotten really strong in their ability to create separation?
No doubt about it. I mean, it comes down to route running, and it comes down to understanding your leverage and what coverage you're getting. They're converting a lot of routes. So yeah, you've got to know what you're doing. You can't just go out there, we're not just running post routes and go routes. We're running a lot of sophisticated routes and concepts based on coverages. So we're converting routes.
Pat, I asked around some of my other AP guys that cover the ACC about do they have FCS guys on their roster, and he said the answer I got back was not really. Certainly not anybody as impactful as Desmond. Has the portal maybe diminished opportunities for those guys like Des, like Poppy, sincerely to kind of make that leap?
I don't think so. I mean, the other AP guys that you've talked to, I don't know. I mean, if they
Cover the other schools.
Yeah, but they're out there. I mean, you got to go find them, and you got to dig, and obviously we had inside info on that one. But I'll go back to probably 5 or 6 years ago. My alma mater, Rhode Island, had a tackle, went to Georgia. Cheney recruited him down there. I'm like, maybe it's more than 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So transfers from 1AA are happening all the time. Whether it's St. Francis had a bunch of guys go, move up. I mean, so they're moving on to Power 5 teams a lot.
Well, what about this program's personal philosophy on it, or your philosophy on it? Because it has most of the transfers you guys got coming in now, they're coming from other, Power 5 schools.
Yeah, I mean, look at Tyler Wiltz a couple years ago, came from
Missouri State.
Missouri State, thanks EJ. I mean, that guy was a phenomenal football player, I mean, that guy was he made an impact in our defensive linebacker. He's tough, and what you saw on tape, you saw it doesn't matter. I think there's a fine line between FBS and FCS, and it's about good players that love football. And I think some of those younger guys, those 1AA guys are hungry guys that want to prove that they can play at the next level. And that's what we found with some of those guys.
Do you find your job to be more interesting and maybe more challenging because of the portal? And you have to think outside the box more than we did maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you're taking more of those guys out of the portal. I think every year we've increased the amount of guys we're taking, but we're not taking guys to take guys, but, it's always interesting. There's never a dull day, sitting in that seat. But, I think, part of the process, you gotta evolve and change and again, I think, we had a stat, I think I maybe mentioned it to you earlier in the week or radio show or something, we're 72% win on transfers. That's pretty good. I mean, 72% is a good number of guys you've hit on. And we've made some mistakes on guys as well, but some of those were calculated mistakes that we kind of go, that was a mistake, and we knew it. We had questions. But sometimes you have a need and there's not much left, and you have a need, then you push and press to take a guy, and maybe make mistakes that way. But just being patient. We don't need them. We want them if they're good. We don't want them if they're not.
Jerry, what quantifies as a win?
That was my question.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Jerry, if you want to ask that.
No, go right ahead.
The win is a guy, like when you're bringing starters into the playing for you. I mean, if they're coming in as starters, they're good players. We took a kid from Kent State, the Milano kid, Stefano, Paisan, and he did a great job for him. I mean, there's guys you just, but you like them, you just. The win is a guy that's coming in and playing for you. Whether it's Nathan Peterman, go back. I mean, you go back. We got all the records. I'll share it with you maybe after the season one day.
Has the transfer portal contributed to maybe some of the parity that you see around the entire college football this year?
I think so, but I think the parity's been there for years, even prior to. It's given someone an opportunity, but I think college football, anybody can win on any given. Forget your record. If you don't show up, you're going to get beat, and you see that week in and week out. And I'm not sure the transfer portal has a lot to do with it, but I think it certainly helps a little bit depending on what you get and where you get them.
Pat, was there any unique messages you gave your team during the bye week to kind of staying focused after a 6-0 historic start for Pitt?
Not really. I mean, hopefully they forget about 6-0. I mean, it's a constant preach. After you're 1-0, you have to, Kent State game. It's the same message. There's no different. Oh, we're this. We're just trying to be 1-0. The focus is 1-0. What are we doing this week? And it's not about Syracuse. It's about what Pitt does. It comes down to our execution on game day.
Do you feel like you guys? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you feel like you guys benefit from a unique standpoint of leadership where you have a guy like Gavin Bartholomew, you guys like Brandon George, who've been part of an ACC championship team, but just also were part of a 3-9 team who can effectively talk to the younger teammates and be like, hey, this can be the difference between winning and losing.
No doubt, we're always going to feed off of our senior leadership that we have, especially those guys that have been there before. So there's no doubt there's lessons learned, right? I mean, you learn from a 3-9 season, just like you learn from an 11-2 season.
Among your top 5 wideouts and Desmond, I think between the 6 of them, they have 3 drops all year. Like 5 years ago, I think it was among the top in the country in drops. Is it just a difference in talent? Is it a difference in coaching or quarterback?
I think it's talent. I think it's I think it's certainly talent. I think it's coaching too. I think you coach that, and whether it's doing different type of ball drills, and and again, it comes down to being positive as a coach. I think you don't dwell on a drop in practice. I mean, what are you doing? But it's like they don't need to hear about it. They dropped it. You just move on and keep going. But I think coaching is a big part of it. JJ's done a great job.
Pat, we were just talking, some of us were there talking to Coach Tomlin, and he said that he talked to the league yesterday about there was Mika Fitzpatrick had blocked an extra point, got flagged for leverage. He said it looked like the official said he touched TJ, but his finger sort of glanced his helmet. He talked to New York said, hey, it's not a penalty. It shouldn't have been a penalty in the game. It was
What
called
was
a
it
penalty.
called? What
in
was
the
the
game.
penalty?
It was, they
Roughing
called
the
leverage
passer?
on, they called leverage on, he kinda leapt over the line, and
He
as he
blocked
did,
it.
it sort of like,
Okay.
it sort of looked like he grazed TJ's helmet as he did it. When you guys go to the ACC with the calls you don't like, do they say, hey, that was our bad, and what does your staff get out of the process? Does it become a teaching point, or you just get to feel better about venting to the league?
It's a coaching point, and Al Riveron's done a great job of communicating with us, and, we send in calls, and they do a great job of letting us know. Like last week, we had a, crazy call, on Rashad Battle for, taking someone, you can't take someone's knees out, just to knock stuff out. I don't think he even touched the guy, but it looked like the guy fell down, and we got called for it. So you send calls in, they got a hard job. I mean, officials do not have an easy job. Things are happening fast out there. And you gotta have your eyes, but they do a good job with operation, and we expect them to be perfect. They're not gonna be perfect, our players are not gonna be perfect, and our coaches are not gonna be perfect.
Well, what do you get out of the feedback? Do you take that feedback that Al might give
Tell
you
our
and take it
kids.
to the coaches and the staff?
No doubt. We'll watch, officials tapes, and staff meetings in here and go through what was called, what was not called, and try to educate our kids. That's all, the best we can do is try to educate our kids on what's being called and what's not gonna be called. So we can, I don't know what play that is. If you guys wanna send it to me, that'd be great. Send DJ.
Forgive me, what was the call against Rashad? That play was the.
They ran a screen out there, and he
Right.
broke up and actually made the tackle,
Yeah.
got the guy, but the lineman was coming, and he beat the lineman there, and the lineman fell down. It looked like it was a, I guess they called it a block below the waist on defense. Used to be able to, so.
Did the ACC say that was an incorrect call, or did
It was an incorrect call, they made, but, it's a bang bang, right? I mean, I'm not criticizing them at all. I think they do a great job, and they'll use that to coach up their officials. And, one of the first plays was, this week was one that was a real good call, okay, in an ACC game, and that's what they want called. And then, but they're gonna make mistakes, we're all gonna make them.
I got one more?
Coach, do you see this matchup with Syracuse as a rivalry? I know they put up rivalry week for this matchup. Do you see Syracuse and Pitt as true football rivals?
Certainly is. I mean, we've played them, 9 times so far. It's his 10th year. It's someone that's in our conference. It's a rivalry game. Is it like West Virginia? I mean, you can, you rate your rivalry games on a scale of 1 to 10. But I certainly think it's a rivalry because we play them. It's a game we're going to play every year at Pitt. So certainly it's a rivalry game for us. Okay.
Coach,